Hey everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at the one and only Roman emperor himself, Julius Caesar. Why was this guy so influential? Why is his name always standing out in the history books? And most importantly, why is he named after my salad? We're going to be taking a look at his life, his history, just a little bit, just to figure out why he was so important. And then we're going to create an epic theme song for the guy. Yeah, something triumphant, something glorious that really fits his persona. Let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about Julius Caesar and then get into creating a theme for him. But first we need to learn, why is this guy so important and why is he all over the history books? So let's take a quick minute to learn about his history. Alright, so let's talk about one of the most iconic names in history, Julius Caesar. Actually, real name, Gaius Julius Caesar. Sounds fancy, right? Yeah, that's because he was born into Rome's elite ruling class called the patricians. Basically, they were the upper crust of Roman society at the time. Now, rumor had it that Caesar's family traced their lineage all the way back to the Trojan prince Aeneas. Yeah, the Aeneas from mythology. So basically, from day one, Caesar had the pressure of living up to some pretty heroic, semi-divine mythological family expectations. So fast forwarding a bit, not much is actually known about Caesar's early childhood. We do know that by age 17, he actually was married to a woman named Cornelia, who came with some serious political baggage. Enter Sulla, a Roman dictator with beef against both Cornelia's dad and Caesar's uncle. So Sulla is basically the you're either with me or you're dead type of leader. So Caesar, being smart and very into staying alive, basically noped out of Rome and went and joined the army. And guess what? Caesar thrived. He climbed the ranks, became a decorated general, and basically turned himself into a living legend on the battlefield. So when Sulla finally kicked the bucket, Caesar returned to Rome like a war hero and was immediately started climbing the political ladder. Eventually he became what's known as a consul, which is kind of like a Roman president for the time. Alright, now let's talk drama. Caesar's biggest rival, a dude named Pompey. Yes, Pompey, not Pompeii. Rome was split. The common people were Team Caesar, while the aristocrats were all about Pompey. Eventually, the Senate got scared of Caesar's rising popularity and branded him a traitor. So Caesar's response? Oh, nothing big, just crossing the entire Rubicon River with his army, which is basically Rome's version of, hey buddy, you wanna go? We can go. So yeah, what did Pompey do? Yeah, he dipped out and went to Egypt. And what did Caesar do? He said, no, you're not, and he chased him down. But plot twist, by the time Caesar got there, Pompey had already been assassinated, and instead of being bummed out, Caesar got cozy with Cleopatra. Yeah, even though he's married, like really cozy. Like he helped her become the pharaoh, and they basically became the power couple of the ancient world. So yeah, from there, Caesar only got more powerful. The Senate named him dictator for life, which in hindsight may have been a bad call for them. But with great power comes a bunch of jealous senators. So on March 15th, 44 BC, Caesar was assassinated by a group of them who claimed they were saving the Roman Republic. Yes, this is what is known as the Ides of March that we all know, and it's basically the OG plot twist in history of betrayal. Also, spoiler alert, Julius Caesar is actually not named after the Caesar salad. In fact, I didn't even know this. It was actually named after an Italian-American chef named Cesar Cardini, who whipped up the dish in Mexico in the 1920s. But hey, I guess when your name is Caesar, you're either an emperor or you're tossing croutons in a salad. Alright, so we got a lot of material to work with, and now it's time for us to kind of figure out what we want this sounding like. What do we want his theme to be? So ultimately, this theme would need to capture how this guy had the world at his fingertips, but then at the very end got backstabbed by all his friends and companions. I don't even know if you can call them friends. Actually, at this time, Roman music was pretty much everywhere. Of course, you had your troubadour musicians going around playing shows, but you also had a lot of music in weddings, funerals, and a lot of military stuff. So it's probably best for us to use some of those military influences when we get into the orchestral stuff. So here's some popular instruments during that time that I think we can use to kind of create a theme. The first instrument that I think we can work with has to be the pan flute. That might be the perfect instrument to open the melody, the theme for Caesar. Second instrument that you've probably all seen is going to be the lute. The lute's going to help us carry and give us that ancient Greco-Roman kind of feel. Okay, so we're going to be working with the pan flute here as basically the instrument that carries our theme and introduces the theme that captures the legend and the myth of Julius Caesar. The pan flute is a beautiful instrument that comes out, and it's really for playing melodies. Alright, so let's start right here. Alright, cool. That was a really good take. That's going to be really nice introduction to our theme, and it's going to basically be the entrance into the orchestra coming out. So I know it ended on that note at the end that probably sounded unresolved, but it's going to get resolved by the orchestra, so that's the idea behind it. Alright, so next here we're going to be working on the lute, and I basically want this to be the background accompaniment to the pan flute. I want it to stand out, but I don't want it to stand out too much, kind of to accompany it. So we're going to record it first, but then we can throw on some effects after to kind of mellow it out. Alright, so here we go. So we got the melody with the pan flute, and we have backing with the lute. Now it's time to add the epic orchestra to it to give it that full Emperor Regale theme. This is going to take a while for me to write every instrument, so I'll get back to you in just a second. Alright, cool. So I wanted to show what I did for this theme real quick and just kind of show you the artistic direction I took in making this theme for Caesar. So we're going to start off here. This is basically the build-up section at first, and this is kind of the introduction of introducing the legend for Caesar. And right here we got a horn, and this horn is basically just the omen for saying, hey, the orchestra's coming, the legend's coming, Caesar's coming. So you better get ready. Alright, cool. And then I added in these chimes and gong right here. And this is kind of just embellishment, just icing on the cake. Yeah, cool. So that's all I did for the build-up. And then we get into the pan flute and the lute, which we heard recorded earlier. So I didn't do much editing here. I maybe changed like a couple notes and just positioning. But yeah, I wanted the pan flute to take charge right here, so I actually lowered the volume of the lute just a little bit to play more accompaniment to the melody in the pan flute. And then we got the rise. Boom. Okay, now the orchestra comes in. So we got a lot of stuff to go over for the orchestra, so we're just going to take it just kind of part by part. I figured that would be easiest to kind of just show you. Alright, so first right here we got the piccolo and the flute, and they're just doing an up-down run. And then the oboe comes in and it's giving some harmony to it. Yeah, it just kind of rounds out that sound a little. So that's actually it. That's all they're doing. There's just that one run. Okay, cool. So same with the pan flute. I decided to give the melody to the bassoon, actually. Yeah, I love how it sounds. And then I gave the clarinet coming in at this B section, basically gave it the counter harmony. And then I gave the contrabassoon the bass line. The contrabassoon's not doing too much anything fancy, mainly just playing on the downbeat some of the bass root notes. Alright, cool. So that's it for woodwinds. Now, the French horn is obviously going to be the hero of this orchestra. It's carrying the strong melody, which is what basically you hear out of the whole orchestra. You're hearing this. This is the carrying melody. And then the bassoon is kind of more just to give like that color, give like a fuller sound. Probably can't even hear it too well inside of it. Yeah, and then we got the second French horn. It's playing that same counter melody that the clarinet was playing. Yep. And then moving on to trumpets, we just got a standard little introduction. Dun, 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 dun. That's it. Just two notes, and then it does it again. And then the third trumpet, I actually gave it the melody line too. So this is another kind of coloration along with the bassoon and the melody French horn. Oh yeah, it just gives such a fuller sound when added in. Alright, then the trombone. Trombone's playing a little bit different than the bass line, has a few extra grace notes, like this little run right here. And then the tuba's just playing the same as the contrabassoon, nothing fancy. The tuba's one of those instruments that can easily overtake the entire orchestra, so you don't want it to be doing anything too crazy. Or if you do, then it's gonna be crazy. Alright, cool. So yeah, that's all we got for brass. Now let's move in over to percussion. So we're gonna start with the timpani. Yeah, and it's pitched to where it's hitting the same root notes. And then over here I have earthquakes, which is basically just what I call these taiko tom type drums. Just gives a little extra oomph. Then I also added an 808 right here to give that bass. You can see it go up, yeah. Just to give that extra oomph for the chord sections. Alright, cool. Now we're probably going to get into my favorite percussion instrument besides the piano. And that's going to be the chimes. Oh my gosh. If there's one instrument that's like the king is here, this is it for me. It's just like, it's so heroic sounding. Oh yeah. Add chimes if you're writing anything heroic. Alright, cool. And then we got some cymbal crashes and snare. This is more just embellishment. And this is also those military influences I was talking about. Yeah, awesome. And then we got the gong here. Comes in at the end. Yep. Awesome. Okay, cool. Let's move on. We got the violins next, and they're actually only playing in the B section of this chorus, and they're playing the main melody. So yeah, this is, the whole orchestra's in. You probably also hear them more than the French horn now. Cool. And then we got the viola playing that counter harmony. I'm gonna mute the first one so it's a little easier to hear. Yep, and then we got the cello playing the same as that trombone we heard earlier, with the little grace notes. Very staccato. Then we got the double basses, and they're playing the same thing. Just a lower pitch. Yep. Alright, cool. And then we got the choir here. No, this is not me actually singing. This is pre-recorded and very Phantom Menace John Williams-esque, huh? I guess. Yeah, just to give that epic, regal theme. Alright, cool. And last thing I wanted to show real quick was just I did some like little EQs here and there, some panning of the instruments, and then we got the reverb bus right here, so you can hear it. Let's see, we'll start right here. So you can hear just the reverb. Yeah, this is, all the instruments coming in. But yeah, this is just the reverb, so this is all effect right here of kind of giving that extra shine. Yeah, that's how I made a theme for Julius Caesar. Awesome, I hope you guys enjoyed the theme. Yeah, it takes a minute to put together all the orchestration, the brass, woodwinds. Took actually a few hours, so I didn't want y'all to have to sit through all of that. So yeah, if you haven't noticed, this is basically my first ever video on YouTube. And the goal behind this channel is that I want to blend music composition with history and just wonders of the world. But yeah, I think that this is going to be really just good for my artistic self to kind of use this as a tool, and also I get to look at some really cool figures in history and some things that I really like. So yeah, hopefully I have around 100 videos now or whatever, and I'm looking back and saying, wow, this was my first ever video back in 2025. So yeah, with that, I hope y'all like the theme. I hope you like the quick history lesson, and we're gonna be pounding these out. We're gonna be taking a look at all different kinds of wonders of the world, places, people, and we're gonna be creating themes for it all. So yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Awesome.